Hello, grade 12 A level students. Now we are continuing the chapter about polymer. Now we are on part proteins. There are three main classes of polymers that occur in nature: the proteins, the nucleic acid, and the polysaccharides. Polysaccharides such as starch and cellulose. In this section, the following section, in this section and the following section, we shall look at some of the properties of the first two of these. Proteins make up about 16% of human body. They not only occur as components of blood, skin, bone, nails, hair, nerves, muscles, and tendons, but also responsible for the smooth workings of the body in their roles as enzyme, receptors, and hormones. Protein-containing foods such as meat, beans, cheese, eggs, and milk are therefore important constituents in our diet. Their importance to us is emphasized by their name, which is derived from the Greek proteos, meaning foremost or primary. Now let's see the structure of the protein. The backbone of protein is one or more chains made up of polymers of amino acids. So there are many amino acids. Amino acid is the monomer when one amino acid combined with other amino acids they become polymer. Some proteins also have non-amino acid groups such called prosthetic groups. For example, the hem in hemoglobin. The shape and physical and biochemical properties of a protein are the direct result of the number, type, and sequence of the amino acids that make it up. This amino acid sequence is determined by the gene. The sequence of organic bases in the length of DNA that codes for the protein amino acids do not join together to form proteins randomly, but join in a well-ordered and predetermined sequence. The amino acids are joined by amide bonds between the amino group of one acid and the carbonyl and the carboxyl group of another. Proteins are therefore composed of polyamides and are condensation polymerization. As we studied earlier, it is condensation polymerization because there is a small molecule being removed. When amide bond is formed between two amino acids, it is called as peptide bond, and a simple protein are also known as polypeptides. So there are many peptides, so become polypeptide. So this one, like example, there are three amino acids. Then when three amino acids combine together, there is an amide linkage. This two amide linkages is called a peptide group. And then the formula of the peptide are often described by the following shorthand. The customary three-letter abbreviations for all the amino acids in the chain are written down starting with the N terminal. N terminal refers to the end of the chain that has a free amine group. And on the left, the finishing with the C terminal refers to the carboxyl terminal. So, of course, in a structure, there must be a terminal on the left and then terminal on the right, which is the end of the molecule. The end of the molecule that containing NH2 or amine group, it is called as N terminal. And then the other group, which is carboxylic acid, N and one other group, one other end of the molecule, it is called as C terminal. Okay, let's continue. This one, like this one, the example of this is the N terminal, this is the C terminal. The amide or peptide bonds in protein can be hydrolyzed by the same reactions as hydrolyzed simple amides, which is using hot aqueous acid or hot aqueous alkali. They can also be hydrolyzed by a variety of proteolytic enzymes. Many of these, for example, trypsin and pepsin, are found in the digestive system, where they help to break down the protein in our food into smaller peptides and amino acids, which can then be readily be absorbed through the intestinal wall. These two, using acid and using enzyme hydrolysis. The difference, if using acid, the product of the hydrolysis are random. Example, when protein hydrolyzed, there could form polypeptide, short chain polypeptide. But with enzyme, which is very specific, and then the products will be specific also. All the products will be uniform in the structure, and then the similarity between both of them, they can make big molecule become smaller molecules. And then the second difference is the condition required. Acid or alkali hydrolysis can resist up to high temperature, but for enzyme, the maximum temperature is according to the body temperature. If more than the body temperature, then the enzyme will denaturate. Okay, biochemists recognize various levels of protein structure. The primary structure of proteins is the sequence of amino acids covalently joined by peptide bonds, making up the polypeptide chain. As described above, this sequence is determined by the arrangement of organic bases in the section of DNA that codes for the protein. And then the secondary, so primary is polypeptide. Secondary, amino acid chain that constitutes a polypeptide is quite flexible, with 2/3 of the bond within the chain being single bonds, around which free rotation is allowed. The other third of the bonds in the CN bond within peptide group, because of the overlap between the lone pair of electrons on the nitrogen atom in a p orbital and the pi bonding of the carbonyl group next to it. The peptide group is rigid and planar. It exists in the trans arrangement. Okay, so this one is the overlap of the p orbital makes the peptide group to be planar. Okay, so this one looks that planar. The inflexibility of the peptide group allows parts of the polypeptide chain to take up a alpha helix arrangement. This lends strength and rigidity to some protein structures. Some hydrogen bonds can form between NH of one peptide and CO of another one, 3 or 4 amino acids along the chain. So in the secondary structure, what is the bond that is very strong? It is hydrogen bonding. Next, alpha helix confers one-dimensional rigidity to the polypeptide. Another type of secondary structure is beta-pleated sheet. This is formed by the C double bond O group of one chain, hydrogen bonding to the NH group. In the same chain or another chain but separated by many amino acid residues, the resulting sheet of antiparallel hydrogen bonded chains confers a degree of two-dimensional rigidity to the polypeptide chain. These chains are described as antiparallel because adjacent chains run in opposite direction, as shown in figure 28.27. This is the figure of the beta-pleated sheet. So there is a bond here. This is hydrogen bond. This is the covalent, and this one hydrogen, this one hydrogen, this one another covalent, this one is hydrogen bonding. And then there is another structure which is called as tertiary structure. Even if a particular polypeptide chain contains regions of alpha helix or beta peptide sheet, there will be many amino acids not involved in these regions. Other interactions can occur between the side group of the amino acids, which causes the chain to twist and fold. So, in the second structure, there is a twist and fold. We can recognize 4 different interactions between side chains which are associated with their different structures. It is van der Waals. Van der Waals attraction occurs between nonpolar side chain. For example, glycine, alanine, valine, and phenylalanine. Let's see their structure. Okay, so this one is alanine. Alanine, the active is there is CH, and then there is phenylalanine. Also, the active is CH3. So they make a van der Waals interaction, and then similar to valine and glycine, also van der Waals. And then the second one, hydrogen bonding, occurs between side chain that contain hydroxide, amine, and then ammonium, which is lysine, and typical of carboxylic acid or carboxylate group, carboxylate ion. So let's see here the structure between O and H, and then NHCO, this one interaction, OH become HO, and then there is a lone pair from the O goes to the hydrogen. And then ionic attractions between the chains containing functional group that exist in their ionic form at pH 7. So in this one, in this tertiary structure, there are many interactions. What are those interactions? 4. First, van der Waals. The second, hydrogen bonding, and then the third is ionic attraction, and then the last would be sulfide linkage, and then disulfide bridges can form between the side chain of 2 cysteine residues, so form a disulfide bridge. And then in the tertiary structure confers some two-dimensional rigidity to the polypeptide and is important in determining both the overall shape and function of the proteins. For example, many enzymes are globular, which is fairly spherical proteins that are soluble in water. The strongest of the tertiary interactions is disulfide bridge. Once these are formed by an oxidation reaction, the various parts of the chain are drawn together, and this allows the other interactions to play their part, creating the overall three-dimensional structure. And then now we discuss about DNA. The genes of all organisms are composed of chains of deoxyribonucleic acid, which is short form into DNA. It stores the information needed to make specific proteins in the cell. Like proteins, DNA consists of a primary structure which comprises the covalent bonds joining the monomers together. The monomer units of DNA are called nucleoside phosphate. This consists of sugar molecule deoxyribose, which has a cyclic organic base bonded to carbon atom 1 and a phosphate group bonded to carbon atom number 5. So all DNA molecules contain just 4 different bases. In a particular DNA molecule, these are arranged in specific order along the chains. Okay, let's see the structure. Figure 28.29 shows the structure of the 4 bases. What are those 4 bases? Adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. And then the monomer of unit of adenosine phosphate, there is a phosphorus attached, and then there is this one PO3 negative 4. The phosphate ion and the phosphate on the carbon 5 of the next monomer. So there is a carbon here, it will bind with carbon. So many thousand of monomer units join up in a specific sequence of bases to form a linear condensation of polymer. So this one is the structure of the polymer. Okay, next, just as with protein, DNA has a hydrogen bonded secondary structure. A DNA molecule consists of a double helix of 2 sugar phosphate strands coiled around each other with the purine and pyrimidine bases, which are planar molecules, arranged in hydrogen bonded pairs and from each chain stacked above each other on the inside of the double helix. Okay, the pairing of the bases is unique. Adenine always pair with thymine, and then guanine always pair with cytosine. So ATGC. As we can see here, the phosphate linkage bind with the amide. Okay, this one starting here. Okay, I think it's too big. This one, distinguishing between, now we know already the structure of the polypeptide, we know already the structure of protein, we know already the structure of DNA. Now we are in distinguishing between addition and condensation polymerization. Addition polymerization, the monomers must contain double bond, and when they become polymer, there is no small molecules removed, different from condensation polymerization. In condensation polymerization, there is a small molecules being removed, and the monomers consist of 2 different monomers. Okay, let's see the structure here. Let's see again. Let's move the scroll down. Okay, the disposal of the polymers. How to dispose polymers? We know polymers are non-biodegradable. It is not easy to decompose except for the polymers that are naturally made, such as protein, carbohydrates. They are naturally present in living things. So polymers, this one we saw in how polyalkanes can be disposed by incineration, recycling, depolymerization, or bacterial fermentation. Some polymers can also be broken down by UV light or strong sunlight. Because of the free radical stabilizing effect of the alkyl groups, the bond between hydrogen atom and tertiary carbon atom is weaker than the usual CH bond. Okay, so this one, the disposal of the polymer, we know some polymers are not easy to decompose, they are non-biodegradable, so they exist on the soil and make soil pollution, but some of them which is natural, they easy to decompose, such as protein, fat, carbohydrates. Okay, because of the strong sunlight, it can also be decomposed. Like in this process, there is a tetrahedral structure. C. Carbon bonded to 3 different alkyl groups and 1 hydrogen. And then when hydrogen is removed, then this hydrocarbon will become a free radical. Let's see here the free radical. This is symbol of the free radical. This is also symbol of free radical. Oxygen molecules react with the tertiary CH group, and then this one will make a bond with the tertiary alkanes. Okay. Next, hydroperoxides formed by this reaction can undergo further bond breaking and molecular arrangements, resulting in a smaller molecules that can be more easily metabolized by bacteria in the environment. The main way that condensation polymerization are broken down in the environment is by the hydrolysis of their ester or amide bonds. Okay, these are the theory of polymerization. So we are completing the chapter already. After this, I'm going to discuss about the protein from another textbook.